Alright everybody, so in this video we're going to be discussing the updates that are most requested that are just never going to come to Emergency Hamburg. So there's a lot that people always say, yeah, we want you to add this, please add this, but realistically it isn't going to happen for very obvious reasons. So the first one, I'm sure you can guess, okay, the first one I'm going to be talking about is planes. So planes in Emergency Hamburg. So I think there's a couple obvious reasons why planes are never going to come to the game. First of all, it is a roleplay game, and it's an emergency services roleplay game, and emergency services doesn't really involve aircraft, as you can imagine, or maybe very loosely it does, but in just very rare situations. It's usually maybe something like helicopters, which, by the way, coming up later in the video. So yeah, planes. Yeah, that's one reason why they're not going to come. Second reason, the map is too small. What are you going to do? Fly a plane across the map for about 5 seconds, then what are you going to do? You're going to have to turn back around again. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck landing and taking off. You know, it's just going to be, they can't just go ahead and say, oh yeah, we're just going to drop an airport right here. It's just not how it works. I mean, where are you flying to? It's going to be longer to take a plane to wherever you're trying to get to than to just drive there, man. Like, it's literally, you know, the map is not the correct size. Obviously, planes are not going to be added. I feel like it's, I mean, I haven't actually seen anyone say planes in the suggestions channel. Maybe I'll do that as a joke because it's just kind of funny. I mean, imagine Emergency Hamburg. Yeah, they should add planes, guys. They should add planes. But yeah, planes are just not going to come. I mean, maybe little prop planes if the map gets big enough, but I just don't, I just know. It's just, I don't even think even small planes, it's not going to happen. It won't, for the reasons I've said, and also it's too complex. They're not going to make a plane system for their game. That's a very complex thing to do, and I don't think they're willing to do that, given the nature of the game and what the reasons I've mentioned before. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But let's move on to the next thing on the list, which is very similar. So it's also in the transportation genre. It's actually boats. So boats, it's a bit more, if they were to be added, okay, it's a bit more likely than planes, because obviously there's a river, but still, I just don't think they're going to be added. I mean, if we go to the river, like, where is that? Yeah, down here. If we go to the river's too small at the moment. If they were to expand the map, like, it would be a really cool feature. No other Roblox roleplay game, except from very small ones, has boats. No major roleplay game. So ERLC doesn't have boats. Southwest Florida doesn't have boats yet. It may in the future. But as you can see, I mean, this is all we've got. It's a small, very small river, and there's not much to do. I mean, you drive a boat down here. Where are you gonna go? Oh yeah, to the grass shore, and then you're gonna walk up to the road. Like, it just, you know, there'd need to be some sort of docking station or something, and they would absolutely need to expand the map if they really wanted to add boats, because at the moment it's obviously too small. And also the systems that they need to create to actually get boats running, it's going to be very tricky for them, because it's much more complex than cars. I mean, it's not too complicated, but I think cars are much easier to do because they already use open source car system called a chassis, but there's not really an alternative for boats, I'm afraid. And also there's a waterfall here, so basically they can't really expand that way because, well, it's blocked, and down there is, well, it's the end of the city. So what are you gonna do? I mean, down there you can't add anything down there because, well, that's where Hamburg ends in this game. I know it's not a one-to-one replica of Hamburg, but that's where it ends in the game. So for those reasons, similar to planes, the map just cannot facilitate any sort of boats at the moment. It would be really cool though, having police boats. And to be honest, Hamburg is infamous, or maybe not infamous, but it's known for its rivers. You know, if you go to Hamburg on Google Maps, like, there's so many rivers. There's so many rivers everywhere going through the city, and boats would be pretty realistic, I think, in Hamburg. But once again, it's just not going to be big enough, and there's no features. I mean, what are you going to do with your boat? Where are you going to go? There's not really anything to do. So for those reasons, obviously boats are probably not coming. Honestly, I wouldn't rule them out though. I really wouldn't rule them out. They could be coming in the future. I don't know. We don't know. We'll see where the game goes in the next coming years, I guess, because yeah, boats is a very long-term kind of thing, isn't it? But yeah, the next thing, another type of transportation which I mentioned earlier, this is helicopters. So I think it's also quite obvious why helicopters won't be coming for a little bit at least. So you may know that ERLC actually has helicopters. Now ERLC, if you don't know what ERLC is, it stands for Emergency Response Liberty County, and it's a very similar game to Emergency Hamburg in the fact that it really revolves around roleplay and police and criminals, and it's basically all the same, but Emergency Hamburg is just different style and it's based in Europe, so that's pretty much the only difference. So you can go and test it out. They actually have helicopters in emergency response, and basically it's not what you think. You can't actually pilot the helicopters. You can only use your police on the phone. They have like an MDT, it's like a mobile data terminal, which is like how the police have a database and stuff. So basically in Emergency Hamburg, the equivalent would be you open the police app and then you click on a wanted person, and then you can actually send a helicopter to their location and follow them with like a spotlight. That's how it works in ERLC. It's like an AI helicopter. You can't fly it. It controls itself and follows the player around. No roleplay game, literally no roleplay game that is relevant has ever added helicopters that a player can pilot, which is, and it's a very, very, it would be amazing, and I think it could be a valid feature. I mean, to be honest, helicopters could be, it's much more different than planes. Planes have like a huge takeoff and landing. Helicopters, you go up, you go where you need to go, and you go back down. Much more simpler than a plane. So I think if you wanted to get from like the police station and then emergency medic helicopter, I don't know, from the fire station maybe, they could have like helicopters on the medic team. You could actually take it from there, fly over to, I don't know, an accident at the clothing store. I mean, that would be so cool. Helicopters, I wouldn't rule them out, but then again, just remember the systems you need. Planes and helicopters, the physics that, for Roblox, this is just something that it's not very easy to do at all. I mean, the developer, this would be a huge thing for them, and actually creating a system to pilot helicopters, it's just not going to happen. Or maybe, that's what I think, maybe they would. But there are helicopter systems on Roblox, but none of them are very good. Probably the best one out there is something called Blizzard, which is like it's used a lot in military games and stuff like that for military simulation, and yeah, it's probably the best alternative we have. But yeah, they would probably make their own, they'd have to, so yeah, it wouldn't be easy for them, and that's why I think that helicopters just aren't going to come. They're just never going to. Maybe AI. We can't rule out that they're going to have AI helicopters because it's very similar to ERLC, but I don't know if they'd want to copy ERLC. Surely Emergency Hamburg would want to one-up their competitors. Therefore, they'd want to get something better than ERLC, so they get their own helicopters which can actually fly around. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It does seem a bit crazy having helicopters in the game. I don't know if it would exist. It seems a bit. I mean, we do have a helipad in the game, by the way. There is a helipad at the hospital, so maybe it's probably just for decoration, but it could happen, guys. It could happen. We don't know. We'll just have to see. They're always very vague with what they're going to add to the game. We never really know. So yeah, we'll just have to look out for that. But yeah, now the final thing I'm going to be talking about on updates that probably aren't going to come is motorcycles. So basically, motorcycles or motorbikes, however you want to call them, there are a few reasons why I think they're not going to come to the game. So basically, first of all, it's just not a car, is it? So there's completely different physics in a motorbike than in a car. So obviously in a motorbike you can lean left and right to turn. You just don't have that in a car. Or like, it's different, and then again they'd have to program an entire new system for motorbikes. So this is probably the least likely one to not be added. I think there is a very slim chance it could come to the game, but I wouldn't count on it, because again, I think it's not really their priority. It's very difficult for them to make, and that's why I think it's probably not coming. And this is a very suggested feature in Emergency Hamburg, so that is why I've put it on the list. It's probably not going to come to the game. They would be cool and they would fit in, yes, but obviously it's tricky to implement. So yeah, those were 4 things that I think are never going to come to Emergency Hamburg. Probably, maybe I'll come back to this video in like 2-3 years, and maybe they will all be in the game. Hey, that'll be crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know what the next update's going to be, but we'll have to find out. Probably coming up soon. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. Drop a like, subscribe, and goodbye.